Hey, wahoo, hey. I feel like breaking into one of those. What's that Disney film called, Chock, set in Hawaii? Mahona.
Oh,
Matuna, Makada, Matuna, Mahalo, that was it. Who said that? Moana. That's it. You're welcome. There you go. That's what I said.
It was a really good movie.
It was a good movie. Ironically, that was sang by The Rokk, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
it was The Rokk.
he spells his name wrongly. Sadly for him. That's why I changed it to Dwayne. You see, because it's easier to spell. Bless him. Lovely fella. Very short. Anyway. How are you guys? Welcome. It's Thursday evening. It's the Rokk Players. It's that time of the evening where we kind of mix. It's like two big icebergs coming together, one of seriousness and one of mirth. And of course, the bit in the middle is where it all gets moist. And that's my favorite piece. Start as we mean to go on. Some lovely faces here. I mean, Bjorn's beautiful, as you know. He has, to me, he is the epitome of a kind of ginger polar bear. That's what I'm.
Well, that's surprisingly accurate, actually.
Yeah, well, isn't Bjorn Swedish for bear? Is that? Yeah,
literally.
There you go.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a new one.
Yeah, Adam is Jewish for man. Oh yeah, that's my name, by the way. I suddenly remember. Oh, I completely went off brand then. That's upset a few folk. Yeah, right. Bear versus man. Oh, that film, The Revenant. Oh, one of my all-time favorite movies. That scene with the bear and Da Vinci. What's his name? Yeah, that's it, isn't it? You know the one, William, don't you? Where
that movie was a little bit like torture porn. The way he got mauled by that bear. It was. Just saying.
I know. It's a true story. I love that movie, though. Absolutely amazing film. Anyway, we're completely down a rat hole. We're not even 5 seconds into the show. Let me quickly introduce my fantastic panel, and there's more to come as well. We got a brilliant show for you lined up today. Firstly, poor old Holtz. Bjorn, he's not with us because he's gone down with I don't know, bubonic plague, I think, or Ebola.
Yeah.
It was something.
I think the thing from they have in A Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh yes,
I think
Macunio or something. Makuna Matata. We're back to the beginning again.
No man, oh god, we're never gonna get anywhere.
Oh, life's a circle, isn't it? And we could even do the circle of life. There you go. Welcome to Disney Hour. You see, this is why I left Bjorn and Holtz to do the hosting last week, because you don't get any of this with them. They're dead on serious. So you get me in, and it's like, who let that granddad in? Who let the old uncle in? Well, I'm here, so tough. Bjorn, what have you been up to, my friend? How are you? You're looking absolutely gorgeous today.
Yeah, I've been playing surprisingly much this week for being me. So I'm almost getting there on the touch interface review. I think I have like 20 games left now.
Wow. How many did you start with? It was like 200 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about 198, I think it is in total, and I have 25-ish left. So
he's been doing a video review, or at least he's been doing a review that will become a video.
I'm doing a review to then make a shorter video of this, like a summary.
Of all the games across Xbox and
all the games on xCloud and GeForce Now, and I do have some on Stadia in there as well, that have been listed as having some sort of special touch interface with it. So like. For example, GeForce Now, you can just play any game and it will just be a random standard overlay on all of them. I'm ignoring all of those. It's only the ones that they say specifically have touch support. On xCloud, it's like one massive list of 170 something games where it says like, these games are play with touch. These are the only ones you can play with touch. And it's everything from direct touch support to gyro controls to just standard overlays that barely works.
That's amazing.
High and low.
You do appreciate that is a Guinness World Record that you've broken there, don't you?
Might be, yeah.
I'm telling you now, nobody else on this planet has played every single game to check out the touch controls. You need to get hold of them. Get in the book.
I have actually gotten reached out to by one of the product managers on xCloud saying that they appreciate the work I'm doing with it. So
oh, wow.
I gave them early access to my spreadsheet.
Nice.
So hopefully it can become something useful for them as well.
Yeah, because you're literally road testing them, aren't you? So you're
like 5-ish minutes of gameplay on each game. just
Wow.
see how it plays, if it's playable, if you can read the text.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Amazing. And then enough of you, mate. Over here on my side, I mean, you know, I've given you 20 minutes. On this side, we have the most gorgeous William of Stadia Porn Gaming, or whatever his name is. It's changed. It's simply Porned Gaming. That's the one. I knew it had some sexual connotations. How are you, William? It's been so long, my friend. So long.
I'm doing great, man. I've been playing some Shadow of War on Steam.
Yes.
I've been playing some Battlefield 1 and 5 on xCloud, and a little bit of Extraction on GFN. So I kind of run the gambit.
I was going to say that's a chunk of gaming going on right there. How close are you to finishing Shadow now? Because you've
very close. Very close. What my goal is to complete the game, see the ending, and then do the DLC, the Blade of Galadriel, because it kind of finishes the story,
right,
of the main character. Yeah, so real close.
But how many times have you played the game? Because it's not your first run through, is it?
No, I have 1,200 hours in that game.
What?
Yeah,
the worst of it was seeing your poor wife. Or your partner, I'm sorry, I'm making an assumption here, saying that was what you were playing on your date when you first met her. I mean, what kind of a...
Well, not on the first date. When we first started dating, I was playing that game. And she couldn't be bothered. I'm like, look at this orc. And,
That's it, exactly. Look at the size of his orc. Just help yourself to chips and beer or whatever. I've got a date with an orc. Absolutely brilliant. And then literally right behind on that side, we'll come round to Chock in a second, we've got the most gorgeous, is that Yoda you got on there, by the way? That ear that's poking up, is that baby Yoda? Yes, it is. But that wasn't his, what was his name again in
Grogu?
That was the fella. That was
I was
beautiful.
thinking George, but I got that right.
It's very close. Yeah, it's very similar to George. How are you, Martin? It's great to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Happy to be back with you and everybody else here. Super grateful every time I can be with you guys.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, well, it's great to have you back. Absolutely. And how's mostly Star Wars doing? Is it picking up the amount of views you
it's
deserve?
doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we've got like a good little group of people that watch us live, which is always the hardest thing, you know, as you're first starting. I was just peeking in the chat over there. One of our biggest supporters and Patreon member is in the chat right now, Bruce. So yeah, big shout out to
fantastic.
Bruce. Yeah, he's
being
really
Bruce.
Cool.
There you go. Hello, Bruce.
Yeah.
How are you? Well,
There we go.
Thanks
There
for
he is.
popping in. I hope you enjoy the show. Martinez is a much treasured guest. Not least of which because he comes with all those toys behind him, and I just want to jump through and play with them.
Yeah.
And then right to your side, to your right, and my left, and everybody else's below is my very good friend Chokotoco, aka Seb. We haven't been. I don't think the last time we played was. Oh, crikey. Earlier this year, wasn't it? We did a bit of D2 earlier this year.
We did a bit of Destiny 2, but I will always remember those golden years of Destiny 1, you know?
We did.
Oh, man.
Bolt of Glass.
We literally, we were in the Rokk clan, weren't we?
Yeah.
And
Still are.
Yes. I think it's only you and me now, mate. There's 99, but it's only you and me that play in there. But we did it all in those early days, didn't we?
2014, chasing the Bex Metoclast, Galahorn, the classics.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic. So great to see you. Seb is one of those amazing people who speaks more languages than exist in the world. He would be the guy you'd want if aliens came down and you needed an ambassador. You'd send Choco ahead. I mean, I would send him ahead anyway because we would want to go and meet them first up, would we? But so you've got. Let me just. So you are. You've got a Twitch channel. So and what's it called?
Chokotoco. I'm just
Chokotoco, and that's his gorgeous Colombian accent that you're hearing there with that amazingly precise English. But you live and you're native in Paris, in France.
Yes.
So you speak fluent French. You speak Italian. You speak Canadian.
Yeah, let's call it Canadian. Yeah, I used to live in Montreal, so there was that French side, Quebec.
Oh,
So,
amazing.
yeah.
Gorgeous. No,
Gorgeous.
but it's a great Twitch channel. You largely cover things like Final Fantasy. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I'm all
that's
about the JRPGs, open world games. I just finished playing some of the classics, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VII. Every now and then, I just feel the urge to go back to those classics
the old
from the
Destiny.
90s.
Yeah.
Is that where you got your name from? Chocobo.
No, actually, Chokotoco was a nickname given to me by my wife. Back then, we were just starting to date.
Well, in the private chat, I pinned a link to what I see when I read your name. It's amazing.
Oh, okay.
It's in private.
Chokotoco.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I totally thought that.
Wow.
It's like I've had one of those before.
You can always do a chocolate taco, huh?
Yeah, I'm bringing that straight in. Hang on a second. Let's get the Choco Taco in. Here it is. Let's get in the Choco Taco. Actually, that I'm not just saying this. That looks flipping delicious.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
That's me. I look delicious.
Back in the early noughties, those were available for like 2 years as a special ice cream you can buy in stores.
The
in Sweden. And then they
Klondike.
just gone. We had them for like 2 years. They were great.
Yeah, but you know what? It's that frozen chocolate because it never tastes like chocolate, does it?
Of course. It feels like
just-
you get diabetes after one of these. Huh?
Exactly. They just always taste like plastic, don't they? Ugh, hideous stuff. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining. It's an absolute pleasure to have so many of you. We've got, as I mentioned earlier, we have got Ninja Guy X joining us a little bit later. And at some point, depending on when he can sneak past the manager without getting seen on the CCTV, we'll even have Epic Cowboy joining us. So it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Let's have a quick say hello to our wonderful people in the chat there. We got Young Ray, you, the gaming cyborg. How are you, buddy? How's your Ted? How's your Teddy onesie? Do you know, I can't think of Ray now without seeing him in that Teddy onesie. I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Crow, how are you, dude? Thanks for joining, my friend. Great to see you as always. Who else we got here? You got Joe in the house. Thank you, Joe. Joe was in my show earlier as well. Thank you for that, my friend. Really appreciate it. Joe is literally, Choco just started a game development studio, Angry Poultry Games, and he's bringing a game out. He's working on it for next spring, March 23rd, very precisely. For next year.
That's coming up quite soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Excited for that.
And what type of game is it? Or
I don't know. It's a fortress. It's something fortress. So I'm assuming it.
like an RPG?
I doubt it's going to be an RPG with the amount of time he's got to make it.
Okay.
I might have the R bit.
Gonna miss the P.
Yeah.
Just a little G.
I'm
It's
sure.
gonna be a roll.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
It's a
tell
game,
us.
you know.
Yeah.
That's what all we can say.
Definitely a game. Well, he was working on a game for Stadia. And we all know what happened there. So I'm assuming it's probably the same game, and he's just widening it out and maybe pushing it Steam way. So exciting! Can't wait to see.
Forsaken Fortress. Saying.
Forsaken Fortress. Thank you, my
Forsaken
friend.
Fortress. Well, already the name
Sounds good.
sounds
doesn't
interesting.
it?
Yeah.
At least for my taste, I'm in.
Yeah. Tell us all about it, Joe. I'm going to get Joe on as a guest anyway. I've already agreed with him offline that when he's closer to talking about it and showing us some of the work in progress and stuff, he's going to come on and
The
it'll be a good
turn-based strategy dungeon crawler / RPG.
Oh, I take it all back. Me and my hush my mouth.
Yeah, and I think since we're talking about Joe right now, I have to jump in here and say something because he's such an amazing supporter of my son Hezekiah. And I don't know if you guys seen my son's recent video on YouTube. Just went out a couple days ago,
Right.
But we show off what Joe did for Hezekiah. He sent him a streaming care package. He gave him a 4K capture card, a light, a camera. He's the one that got Hezekiah ready for streaming. So I mean, I can't say enough. It's just I can't say enough good things about him. And
Bless him.
Yeah, it just warms my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Joe, you are an absolute diamond. That is such a lovely thing to do. And he's going to have so much confidence as well. Just I've seen him building in confidence, doing all this stuff. And
for sure.
in front of the cameras and stuff. I think it's a great start in life, isn't it? Get you, you know, cause just kill those demons. Because it's the thing, I think, as kids, it's that standing in front of class with your project or something and, you know, and feeling like I wish the ground would open up. But with there's so many of these kids like yours now, who are going in front of cameras and projecting and you know, and really just getting very confident being themselves. I think that's a lovely thing.
Yeah, that's great. Took
Big
me a long
round of
time
applause.
to get comfortable being in front of an audience at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Oh, hang on, that wasn't the one I meant.
Oh man, I love it.
I'm sorry, Bjorn. I wasn't laughing at your story. Oh dear, this poor old Bjorn breaking his heart in front of us and we're laughing. What's that all about? Oh, terrible, terrible. K-Sport, how are you, my friend? See, Star Ocean. Yes, that was the one. Star Ocean. Now it's cancelled for GFN. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Yeah, there's all sorts going on. Ninja Guy X is in. He's lurking. Look at him lurking there. Look. No point in lurking, mate. Get in here now. Come and join us. Right. So, chaps, let's have a look at the old news. We got, before we do that, see how unprofessional I am, Bjorn.
I was just going to say, hang on, aren't you missing something here? Quite important.
I explained to our lovely guests how I'm going to run through this before, and then I just completely jump all over the place because that's what I do. Yeah, it's this time of the show we normally talk about the giveaways, and we've got Rokk has got that's me has got 3 on the go. I don't normally talk in third person. I'll leave that to Vet normally.
You should start that. That's fun.
Vet's the one that talks in third person. 3 big prize giveaways coming up. One of them's getting drawn tomorrow. That is exclusively to Team Rokk members, which you can join right now, and you'll be in that draw tomorrow. And that's guys. I was so proud of myself. HALLO-WIN. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, come on.
I was proud of you when I saw that.
Oh, HALLO-WIN. I mean, I've never seen that ever in my entire 55 years. I'm very proud. Team Rokk members, and you're going to get Resident Evil Remastered number 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil Biohazard, my personal favorite, and Resident Evil Village. All of this coming out on the day that they're releasing the DLC for Resident Evil Village. And I didn't even plan that, guys. That's me and the universe working in harmony. That's what that is. So that one's getting drawn tomorrow. If you're a Team Rokk member, you're already in the draw. You know how it works, guys. And there'll be 5. So I'm breaking them up into 5 prizes. 5 you will win those. On Monday, John, my good friend John Scar, and my good self, because I am good, is basically, we're both giving away, it's a joint thing, we're giving away a thing called the Outbreak Palladium Collection. You remember Outbreak? Do you remember on Stadia we had the whole early look at that Outbreak kind of, it was a bit Resident Evil actually, wasn't it? It was that kind of, yeah, okay. So he's actually got 10 games on Xbox, and that's all part of this giveaway. $110 worth. And we've both got one of those to give away each. So we're both, I think John's coming on my show on Monday, so we'll draw it twice. And that again goes to all the Team Rokk members, but also John's army, his Scami army, his members as well. And of course, anybody that wants to win that bundle, all you got to do is sub to both of us, tweet, let us know that you've entered, and you'll go on the Wheel of Fortune. And then off into the distance, 2nd of December, so a little bit over a month. On the 2nd of December, the Callisto Protocol drops, and I am so looking forward to that game. It looks so cool. So what I'm doing to celebrate that is I'm letting a winner have their choice on any platform, that particular game, plus their choice of 60 days of Game Pass Ultimate, 60 days of PlayStation Plus Premium, and or 60 days of GeForce Now 3080. That's a prize and a half, guys, isn't it? Yeah. To enter that fella, you just go to Rokk, that's ROKK.co, that's .co, / that's one of them, CALL for call. If you go and do that, rokk.co./call, you can enter, and it's all on there. There you go. That's it. Done. Housekeeping finished. Oh yeah, hit the like, hit subscribe, send me $400 in the post, all that stuff. And then
But only 400, huh?
each. I did mean each. Right, shall we get on to the news, chaps? Or should we talk about what we've been playing and how?
We could do that too.
What should we do? We do that, shall we? Because we've got time to kill
Yeah.
in the Bond style. So, Bjorn, what have you been playing and how?
Yeah, apart from a lot of touch style games,
Yeah.
I did manage to squeeze in not only a stream of A Plague Tale Requiem. I always stumble on the name. Great game. Got gifted a copy of from GeForce NOW, and obviously played it on 3080, and wow, looks really good. Plays really well.
Where do you play your 3080? Do you play it on a PC, or you do?
PC.
Okay. And what res of monitor, out of interest?
Just a 1080p
Yeah.
one. I do have my laptop has a 4K screen, but then I would have to sit like this.
Yeah.
Doesn't look as good on camera.
So does it? Because I've never tried the 3080 4K or 1440 on a low res monitor. Does it look better than the priority at 1080?
You can run it at 4K, and then it will compress it down. So you will get it will run at higher resolution and compress it down.
Sure.
However, I noticed that my PC, because it's quite an old PC, struggles a little bit with decoding that. So I've started to just run it in 1080p anyway, 1080p
okay.
and then 120 FPS, because why not?
Fair enough.
Because and it looks really good. And as for the game itself, it was really I felt like 1 minute it's like, oh, it's so cute and cozy, like the civics are so nice, and then oh god, here comes the rats. I hate this game. I really like it.
It's a great game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is a great game.
Yeah,
It's,
and before that, I actually jumped into a game that's not even out yet.
This is the developer that you're interviewing later.
Yeah, exactly. A game called Metroplex Zero, which is a card battler, sci-fi cyberpunk aesthetic and world building. And then it's basically your normal, just like Slay the Spire or However, they limit you to only having 12 cards in a deck at once. So you, even though you start build up a quite big collection quite quickly of I think when I stopped the stream after an hour, I had 25 cards maybe unlocked on each character, and then but for each character you can only use 12. So you need to get strategic and find which combos work well, and build something that works with your playstyle for those characters. Yeah. And there's a bunch of different characters. I felt it was really the second I realized that's how it worked. I was like, oh, this is just like Guild Wars 1. This is very strategic. Yeah. Way more strategic than the others in the genre. So it might even I think I did a video earlier a few weeks ago about how Rogue Book was my favorite deck builder to date, and I think this one might even surpass it when it's done. I always have to play it more, but really looking forward to talking to the developers and finding out more about how they came up with the ideas.
Yeah, look forward to when are we streaming the interview?
I don't really know. I'm recording it today, and then we can stream it whenever we feel like it. I guess.
Okay, so, cool.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, no, fantastic. We'll talk about it offline, my good friend.
Exactly.
Wilhelm, mein Herr, mein Freund. We know what you've been playing because you told us 2 minutes ago.
Yes, but I can tell you this. Stadia's death has reared its ugly head in my life again. Check this out, Rokk.
What?
So when I built my PC, I never intended to play the game on my rig and stream it from the same rig.
Which game?
Shadow of War, any of the games that I have installed. I never planned on it. This rig was built for cloud gaming, to stream cloud gaming.
Yeah.
So I bought a 3080. And it's not the 12 gigabyte card, it's the 10 gigabyte card. Well, I started to have issues within not OBS, but YouTube Studio. to where I'm playing my game. I've got it at 4K. I got it maxed out. Everything's running great.
Yeah.
And YouTube Studio, the box up in the corner where you can see a representation of what your stream looks like, it started crashing and freezing. And I'm like, oh, wow. I think I'm having issues. So I asked my audience, hey, does it look good? They're like, oh, it looks beautiful, mate. Everything's great. Weird. Okay. Well, I found out what was going on, Rokk. Shadow of War at 4K maxed out ultra settings is about 9 gigabyte worth of VRAM.
Ooh.
So I had 1 gig of VRAM left, and I need like 0.5 for my stream. But while I'm gaming and you run into one of those fortresses, the GPU utilization goes up to 97%. And when it hits that, there's not enough VRAM left to generate that box up in the left corner.
Oh,
so
right.
So just the video on my side freezes, but the bit rate and all the data is still going upstream and looks perfect.
Right. Wow.
It's very weird. So I looked into it.
I've had similar issues, but
hang on, Bjorn, he hasn't finished his story. Let the guy finish. You just had 40 minutes.
So I saw that going from 4K maxed out to 1440p, dropped it to like 87%, and then you can mess with other settings as well. But basically, I was running out of VRAM, so there was no more video RAM left to display my stream. And after about 2.5 hours of that through OBS gets confused and locks up and is like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, and then you got to restart OBS and then it's good again. But
it's funny because Bjorn had a similar story. Go ahead, Bjorn. Tell us all about
I was just going to say my solution to a similar problem where I couldn't run OBS and even decode the incoming stream from Stadia at the same time on my PC. Everything just started lagging at that point because mine is very old. My solution was running it with a dual PC setup. Just have one PC running OBS, one PC running the game, then don't have to bother.
Well, that's true. But here's my issue. My rig is badass and can do anything. I'm limited to my GPU right now. So think of this. At 4K ultra settings, my CPU is running at 4%. I dropped to 1440p. I'm at 0.9. Less than 1%. Yeah. So like my CPU is like shooting steroids, pumping iron, running full tilt on a treadmill, and looking at my GPU like, "Hey, wee man, hurry up, catch up!" You know,
what, you got Shrek in your PC? How does that
work? I do. No, Crow, I'm not buying a 4090. Don't do that. My card has 10 gigabyte, and the 3090 has 24. So I'm probably going to upgrade to the 3090 just so that I have that extra VRAM. And it's an issue that most people aren't going to run into because like Bjorn said, usually somebody that's running a rig like mine usually has a dedicated extra PC just for the streaming part, and they plug it into their capture card and away they go. Yeah. I'm using the whole same rig, and it's possible I just ran out of VRAM is all.
To be fair, your streams are gorgeous. I mean, they really are beautiful. I mean, buttery smooth, and I get very jealous when I watch you because I've got a decent rig and mine just look like treacle. So I'm not. It's probably because I'm not maxing them out like you are.
Yeah,
we make do with what we've got.
Yeah, exactly. True. It's not about the size, is it, Bjorn? It's not.
No, it's how you use it. I have two PCs, both are like 7 years old. I make do.
Yeah. What's it called? What's the thing called in Star Trek that you can never get? You can never beat it. The Kagemushi or the Keshimugi or something.
Oh, the Kobayashi Maru.
I'm thinking that's what you got going on with your PC, basically, right? You're never going to get the solution, are you?
Well, no, I will. It's just money. You know, that's what sucks.
I know. This is the thing, isn't it? You start off, you get your little Choco will tell you get your little potato laptop. And you think this is great. Look at me, I'm on Twitch, mother. And then you go, oh, I've looked at other people. I've got stream envy.
About GPU, CPU. Well, I'm afraid to put a chatbot because I think the computer is going to explode.
And then you want to buy an overlay, customized, and then you want to.
I have no notes yet because I'm afraid to start uploads.
So basically, what my solution is either get more VRAM, which is a little beefier card, or I'm thinking about messing around and trying to run the browser from like Opera and make sure that just my CPU is using that, like it's using
That's
my
what I'm
CPU
doing.
for those things.
Yes.
Instead of my GPU, because it's already running, so full. So
Yeah.
there are some workarounds. Like I said, dropping it to 1440 anyway made a big difference. Changing shadow quality, everything else ultra changed a lot as well.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Well, this is why I prefer. I only stream 3080 now. Sorry, GeForce Now 3080, because if I tried running the first Descendant in the week, I was going to stream it, but then the whole thing was like maxing at 100% GPU, and I thought, there's no point. I'm not going to get OBS to run with this going on. Whereas if you whack it on through the old 3080, through the GeForce Cloud, then
it does all the heavy lifting for you.
Doing it for you. You just need.
And that's how I built my rig. I was thinking content creation for future, but I was thinking cloud gaming. I wasn't thinking of running the game and streaming it at the same time. So I'm going to need a bigger GPU for that, I think.
Fair play, my friend. So anyway, there you go. You see, there's the tribulations that we content creators have to go through. And poor William, he's just invested in his rig, and now he's still not got enough. He's never got enough.
I know.
Yeah.
Martinez, what have you been playing and how?
Yeah. So most recently, Hezekiah and I have been going through Unravel 2.
Oh, I love that game.
Oh man, it's such a fun game.
Oh, it's brilliant. Great game to play co-op as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful game. Yeah.
And it is interesting. I'm definitely a laid back, pretty chill, just game player in general. I mean, maybe after 3 hours in a Destiny raid, I'll get a little frustrated, but that's about it. It takes a lot to get me, but playing Unravel with a 6-year-old, I'm just like, there's so many times I'm just like, you just got to do the little thing, this, come on. But no, yeah.
Jump.
Yeah.
Okay, no, again.
But yeah, so the other thing.
I feel you, man.
The other game that we've been playing together too, and if you've been following me on socials for a while, me and Hezekiah have been going through all of the Zelda games. And so it's, for me, going through them a couple of times. Hezekiah, it's his very first time, so it's awesome to kind of go through it.
Oh, that's lovely.
So this right here.
Is that where you started with him?
No,
Skyward?
we actually started with Breath of the Wild.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
And so yeah, we just started Skyward Sword, and it's so amazing to like go through the story again, because it's been so long since I've played it, and seeing his excitement going through the different things and letting him figure out different little stuff it's like reinvigorating my love for that game. And yeah, it's been a blast.
Oh, that's amazing.
I highly suggest you try the NES first Zelda, with
Yes.
the golden cartridge. I still have it back in Colombia. That
is still my favorite. Yeah.
Hang on, you've still got gold in Colombia? What the hell's wrong with this?
golden cartridge.
Oh, fair enough.
But
Okay,
I still have my Atari 2600
Nice.
in Colombia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I started gaming when I was...
Would it work? Would it work if you brought it over to France? Or
I don't think... I think customs is going to be like, wait, what is this weird reactor?
Well,
Is that a bomb, or
there's
is it-
always a collector amongst the customs, isn't there? Always,
Radiating
I'll
more
just
heat
have
than
that
the
one.
plane itself, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Talking of Choco, this is that part. I could see it in your face. I remember when this is Chokotoco's first ever guest appearance on a panel show. Bless him. And I remember, and we all did, when we all first did this, and we knew that it was going to be us next. And we're like, I don't know what to say now, and I'm really worried. And I could see it in your little face. Go on, my friend. What have you been playing? Tell us all about it.
So yeah, I've been playing. For me, the big in the timeline of chronologically speaking. Sorry, see, I'm already nervous. Come on.
Come on. You're amongst friends, apart from Bjorn, but he's drunk, so don't worry.
So I was playing Final Fantasy. I was trying to do Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, and 10. I was getting a little bit too ambitious. But I wanted to do everything before God of War Ragnarok, because that's coming out in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like the 11th of November, 9th of November, I think it is. And I managed to finish Final Fantasy 7 and 8. So now I'm trying not to get any emotionally attached to any other big title. So I'm playing a lot of Fall Guys. and yeah, Fall Guys, and playing a lot of world. I started World War C.
Yes, great game.
Good game, really tough. My God, my God, even in
You've
normal
got,
difficulty,
you've got to put it on easy mode.
they were
mate.
cleaning the floor with me, and so yeah, I'm trying to get people to play along because it's cross-platform, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a hell of a game. Huh? It's a lot of adrenaline, and it's a lot of zombies.
So you
It's
largely
a
play
lot.
on PlayStation.
Yes, I have only PS5, the Switch, because I bought it because that's the only one I can play with my wife,
Yeah.
and my crappy potato laptop,
Yes.
which I think only can play, old Doom, Duke Nukem, and maybe Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
What about Marvel Snap? I'm told that's what the kids are all playing these days.
At least Ray.
Solitaire is
Yeah.
already too heavy for this computer, so
Yeah, maybe not.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Do you have the PlayStation Plus Premium, Choc, or do you have the base?
I have the base. The thing is that I've been downloading, the free games that you get at the beginning of every month.
Yep.
So I have this major backlog of games like
Yeah.
Bloodborne. I have Bloodborne, and I never played it, and I want to start it, but I need to look for the right spot because I have Ragnarok coming out around the corner. Then we have Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core coming in December. And
Wow.
that's a classic for me. And next year is Final Fantasy 16, the next part of the remake. The new
See, it
Zelda.
never is the final. What the hell is it with that? I mean, you
And
can keep calling it final, and there's always another one.
And I really hope it never ends, huh? Because I'm a big fan
I
of
know
this
you
franchise.
love it, my friend, don't you? It's absolutely superb.
But yeah.
Because this coming up, I don't know if you knew this, but in November it's going to be Neo 2, which is a big. I'm absolutely sure that's a game up your street. This is what you can collect on November 7th on PlayStation.
Yes, I saw the announcement. I'm looking forward.
Harry Potter, the Lego Harry Potter collection.
Also getting it. That's going to be good.
Yeah, that'd be cool. There was another one I forget what it's called, something to do with space, which looks kind of
Space.
Fall Guy. Yeah, I'd love it to. No, it's not. No, no, I'd love it to be that remastered Dead Space.
Yeah.
No, it's like a kind of Fall Guys looking kind of game, which may be up Choco Street. Yeah, might be one
Oh,
up your
take a
street.
look.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, guys. And what have I been playing? Well, like Bjorn, really, I've been banging about with rats and little French people. So, as you do, yeah. Well, as Choco does, funny enough.
Yeah,
It's,
really does that. Thank you.
it's kind of what Choco does on a daily basis, maybe minus the rodents. But yeah, Plague Tale,
Lots of rodents
Requiem.
here.
Are there? Ooh. It's I guess because of course it's a French studio, isn't it? That has it got Asobo, I think they're called, that put Plague Tale Requiem and Plague Tale Innocence together. But and recently there've been some fairly hefty titles coming out of France. I mean, I think is Hellblade French or is that Canadian? I get sometimes.
Steel Rising. What's
Steel Rising, thank you, Bjorn. Yes, I completed Steel Rising. That's a French studio. The thing I love about the games that come out of France, and this has always been the case, by the way, this goes back my roots of gaming in the 80s. They have a really unique approach to whatever they do, in aesthetically, narratively. It's I will take my hat off to French studios because they never approach stuff the same way as you tend to see it elsewhere. You tend to get those Japan alikes or the kind of first-person shooter alikes, and then you get these like Steel Rising. It's a quirky original game, as is the combat in Plague Tale with the whole sling thing and all that going on. I mean, it's just a superb title. So yes, bon champ, which is like good luck, but that's all I could come out with my mouth in time. Oh dear. Well, that's been me. Let's get on with the news because everyone's getting bored now. I don't blame you. Well, I've got to share this screen, chaps. First up, today being Thursday. And I know, Choco, that this isn't really your domain, but that's okay, my friend. So we have a thing called GeForce Now. Choco, just so you guys know, he's not really ever been into cloud. Now, I did try and get him into Stadia at one point, but
I'm
but
too in love with my PS5. Sorry,
it's all good. out of interest, if you, of course, no, just that's why I asked you whether you had the premium, because that's the only way you can play the cloud library with PlayStation, isn't it? You've got to have, you can't play it unless you pay the top dollar rate, which I actually don't think it's bad value. It's only about $100 a year, I think, isn't it, give or take?
it's I think the extra, which is the level 2, I think it's like 90 euros per year.
Okay,
if I'm
and
not
and you can
mistaken.
play cloud on the extra, can you?
Yes, I think I can.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, well, there you go. I don't think that's bad value at all. But GeForce Now is essentially what it is, Choco, explaining it to you, my friend, is you buy your games on Steam or Epic or GOG. I think there's others as well. And then you can, if they're in the library on GeForce Now, which is owned by NVIDIA, the graphics cards company, you can play them in the cloud. So it's a great way if you've got those PC games, if you bought those PC games, but you don't have a gaming rig or even a decent computer that will run those games. Maybe you just don't have the space on your hard drive. You can play them in the cloud, and the quality is amazing, particularly if you go up to the top level. So the top level of GeForce Now is a literal 3080 video card, which is why it's called the 3080 tier. And you can run your stuff at ultra quality, and you can pump it through on a Mac or PC at 4K. If you've got a Shield, you can do 4K.
Even if you have a crappy laptop from the Cold War?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, if you haven't got a 4K monitor, you're not going to get the absolute best quality. But as Bjorn has testified, it still looks really good. But yeah, this is the beauty of it. So even if you don't have that kind of top level kit, you can still run those games. Like we've been playing, Bjorn and I have been playing Plague Tale Requiem on the 3080 tier, the top level tier, in 4K at 60 frames per second. Now it isn't on consoles at 60 frames per second, Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5.
And I'm playing it on a 7-year-old mid-range PC.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 60 frames per second. So every Thursday, and that being today, they have a blog post, and basically it's all the games, or a selection of games that are coming across to GeForce Now, and they tend to be most of the day and date games, as well as a couple of older ones, but they have a really good deal on this week. And here it is. So they're basically giving you 6 months of the priority membership. Now, this one would probably be a good one for you, Choc, because the priority gives you 1080p, but it's a really high quality. So it would run nicely on your laptop. And of course, you can play any PC game. And it's $30 for 6 months, which is roughly the same as far as euros are concerned, instead of normally 50. So it's like a 40% saving, which is it's pretty good. So this might be, Now, I can actually hook you up with a 3-day free trial of the 1080, so you can try it out on your laptop and see what you think. So I will give you one of those later. But we've just had, join us. Let me hide the screen, because otherwise there's so many of us, we're not going to see him. Just joined us, chaps. It is none other than the legend that is the epic one and only Cowboy. He's a
Rokk.
cowboy.
Oh man! So listen, I've been listening the whole time. As soon as I heard you say, "I don't want anybody to get bored," I said, "That must be my cue."
Here he comes. Here he comes.
I didn't want to jump in earlier because I don't want to go over all the stuff I've been playing. I just figure I want to jump in once you start talking about the news. But how you guys doing today?
Yeah, we're cool. Well, look, William's already gone. He's had enough of you, man.
Listen, William, he left to go fix that PC.
Hey, it takes more than that.
Yeah, I figured.
And how are you keeping, my friend? Great to see you.
Yeah, doing good. Thank you for inviting me earlier.
No
Sorry that I'm at work, but I was, like I said, I want to pop in real quick. And my boss left early, so maybe I could stay a little bit longer. We'll see. We'll see.
Is he into cloud gaming and loves Rokk?
She is not.
There you go. There you go. You see? So you got no
you're
chance
safe.
of getting caught.
Yeah.
Wowza. Look at that. That's that Nike or Adidas, because I'm useless at that stuff.
That's Nike, bro.
Nike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. You see? That's how
Just do it, Rokk. Just do it.
I'm only saying because I've been following Kanye West, or Onky, or whatever he's called now, and he's been, he's going to be destitute in a couple of weeks, isn't he? Everyone's sacking him, and what happens
I don't
when
know.
you
Some people think he's going to be president of the United States in a couple of years. So who knows?
Yeah.
As David Wilson says, I prefer Adidas.
He prefers it. I don't know what he's on about.
I think that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he said. So, guys, so where were we? We were talking about the old GeForce Now. So there's a big old deal on, which I think is pretty clever. So you can get that from now until November the 20th. And then you've got 6 months of the priority tier at 40% off, which is good. I'm glad that they're doing
Very
that.
cheap at that price.
It's pretty cheap anyway at about $6 a month. But the key thing is it's giving people a chance to properly try it out. And I think we're getting, and I think Ant, you'll back me up on this, we're kind of getting to the point now where most people that have fallen out of Stadia have kind of found their next platform or their next service.
Yeah.
So they've either decided, no, I'm going to go back to Xbox, or actually I'm loving the Steam environment on my Steam Deck or on GeForce Now. Some obviously gone down the Luna route, particularly if they're family oriented, or they've gone with Black Nut, which of course is our French. Choco, what would be French for black nut? Noir.
Noyau noir.
Oh, it's much better. Say it again. Say it again.
Noyau noir.
No, I can't do
that
it.
is amazing.
I can't do that.
Sounds so much better.
Do the first one bit. Do the first bit again.
Noyau noir.
No, noir.
Yeah.
Noir. Oh, mate. Let me
No,
just.
instead of saying black nut, you say not black.
So it's noir. I've lost it already.
Noyau noir.
I give
We
up.
can go with the Swedish one.
See, we don't understand why they call themselves Black Nut, because it's particularly my American brethren, they find that rather hilarious. And,
Especially Ray.
Especially Ray.
I would love to see the marketing roundtable. That's all the discussions they have. I would love it.
It's a French cloud gaming company, Choc, and they basically do a sort of a family package. I know. I mean, it's a family oriented cloud gaming platform with what's crap by Oh, Raymond, I should have brought him on tonight. I was in two minds. Bless him. Anyway, this is going downhill very fast, and it's not even a late night show for most of the audience. So So anyway, GeForce Now, they've got a bunch of games out, some good ones, and some good ones that are coming out day and date over the next, today in truth, and also one of those is Saturnalia, I think it's pronounced, which is a free to claim on Epic Games, whether you cloud play it or not. So that looks really cool. That was a great game, actually. So we've got a load of news. Anything you want to bring to the table on the old GeForce Now, Ant?
You know what? That's one that I never. So actually, I never tried GeForce Now, and I never tried Luna. I only ever tried Luna from the couch co-op thing. But someone said, "Why don't you try GeForce Now?" I just said, "Well, I didn't have I want to do things if I have a reason to, right?"
Yeah.
And so I just never felt there was a game on there that I had to have. Right. And then I'm always afraid of ecosystems. So I'm one of these people where I get caught up into ecosystems. I want one thing to do everything. So Stadia for me did everything right at the time when I was in love with it. So I figure if I get into GeForce Now, then I feel like if I'm not a PC gamer, which I'm not, then it's kind of irrelevant for me, because if I get out of it, then I'm not even going to play those games, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I never got into it. But I would one day like to try the 3080, because I would love to see the magic.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm hoping, although they don't at this moment in time, there's absolutely no plans for this, but I'm hoping at some point they're going to do a trial of the 3080. So up until now, I've got codes for giveaways, but there's no code so far for trial. But I'd love to see your opinion, because you're a PlayStation player, the same as Choco in the main, aren't you?
Yeah.
You got your PS5 and your.
Yeah, I came from a PlayStation 4 Pro to Stadia, and Stadia did blow me away. And then after Stadia, my guys, I don't need to go over my gripe, but I felt like, man, they don't have the games that cater to me anymore. So I bought a PlayStation 5. Yeah. And then when I started playing it more, because I'm still playing my Stadia more than PlayStation 5. When I finally said, okay, let me give PlayStation 5 more time, and I did the unthinkable. I played my favorite game that was on Stadia on PlayStation 5, which is Marvel Avengers, and I was blown away. The graphics was a lot better, and there was I only ever seen it load once, and I don't know whatever happened to make the loading screen come up. So
that's weird.
I would love to see what GFN 3080 is doing.
Yeah. I mean, it is magical. I can't put it any other way.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Well, it literally is like you've got a 4K. Particularly, I tend to play mine using the Shield Pro on my LG C8 OLED telly, but I'm about 8 to 10 feet away from it. So, from that distance, it just, that's amazing.
Right.
That's amazing.
And I mean, if you play it on a computer, it's basically like if you had William's computer, but on any computer that you have.
Yeah, maybe just shy of William's computer. In fairness, he has got a god of a PC. But I hear what you're saying. Very close.
Very close.
Now, I'm not in a rush to play it, so I'll play it eventually. But let me ask you guys this: my laptop, I would preferably play it on my laptop. Will I still? I'll be able to do a 1440p and 120, right?
Yeah, I do. I largely play 1440 with mine. And I've got what I'm looking at right now is a 1440 144. So that's I typically go with it, but not all games go up at that frames per second anyway. But certainly, up 120, 100. It'll go up as far as I've had it running at 120. So you'll have no issues there. Yeah. And it's amazing. I mean, I keep going on as if I've got shares in the business, but the truth is, it is a wonder to behold, particularly if you don't have that kind of a thing. If you don't have a stunning rig. I mean, I'm not saying for 1 minute that right now, your experience on I've got a PS5 as well as an Xbox Series X, and I tend to go where the game is rather than think, oh no, I must play this on the Xbox. Right now, Plague Tale, as we talked about this earlier, and is free on Xbox. So of course I'm going to play it on Xbox. It just happened, same as Bjorn. Nvidia gave us both codes so that we could play the PC version, and that's the only version that you can go beyond 30 frames per second, and so therefore that's what we've done. But it still looks stunning on the next gen consoles. You can't knock it. It's just we're in a whole other place in terms of quality. So this little story here, very quickly, Microsoft's Xbox CEO, of course, Phil Spencer, who was saying in the week, there's a load of stuff at the moment coming out from Microsoft and Xbox. I think some of it is the antithesis of what's going on with this. Is it the CMA that they're being investigated over whether they pose a threat to PlayStation, etc., etc. It's all a bit lady doth protest too much. So there's some of this stuff that's kicking around. It's an antithesis. It's the opposite in many ways. But what's interesting is some of the facts that we're finding out. For example, Phil Spencer here saying that Game Pass is now representing 15% of their gaming revenue, and this is the most important piece of the story, it's profitable. Now, I don't know what the margin is on Game Pass, but that gives them something to build on, doesn't it? Which is why I think we see all of this stuff moving its way to all the investment that we're seeing from Xbox.
Just to compare, I think Netflix, I don't know, maybe it's not true anymore, but at least I think 2 years ago, Netflix was operating at around 30% profitability. So I would assume Game Pass is somewhere in between. I mean, they are investing a lot, which probably brings it down, but somewhere between 15 to 30%, I would assume.
Yeah, and I think the thing as well is, don't forget that the money they're investing it on behalf of Xbox versus Game Pass or even the Xbox cloud gaming, because if they're buying Bethesda or whatever, it's for their entire gaming setup. It's not purely for cloud or for Game Pass. But my feeling is it bodes massively well. And also interestingly, and I think this is probably more for you and Choco, if as I believe, PlayStation are playing it incredibly safe because most of their revenue, not too much, not too far from our friends at Microsoft, most of it is in the hardware and in the proper game sales, the bits and the bytes. So they've got to take it a little bit more nervously, but this has to give them a certain level of take some of the risk away for them.
Yeah, I think it's also going to make it easier for the Sony shareholders to swallow them moving towards this as well.
Yeah. Do you
I
think?
guess it depends, though. So with Sony, what they said, Jim Ryan said that the amount of money they put into creating their games, if they put it on their subscription service day and date, they wouldn't be able to afford to make those games put out the same input in those games, right? So I think Microsoft does have more money, so they could say, hey, we could try to lose first. But what we got to remember is this year so if they say it's 50% profit, you got to also remember this year had no and this year is almost over. They had no Xbox AAA exclusives, right? So that means they didn't put out that much money this year in Game Pass. So what I'm curious on, and plus Xbox don't have that many AAA exclusives, whereas Sony has more. So if Sony go out and say, we're going to put all of our AAA exclusives day and date, well, first, they got more. Two, they're spending more money to create them. So I still don't think Microsoft showing them making 15% profit is going to reflect on what PlayStation. I don't think it'll be the same.
Yeah. Choco, what do you think?
Completely.
By the way, I've just got to take a 2-minute break, but Bjorn's going to host.
Oh, yeah. No worries.
He's going to be very gentle with you.
Choco, take it away.
I'm going to jump out, but I'll be back to listening.
All right, dude. Thank you so much for jumping in.
Rokk and I are going to the same place.
Yeah, exactly. You take care, dude. Speak to you later, buddy.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, Choco, take it away.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what Cowboy was saying. I think PlayStation has been pumping out games. Let's be honest, it's like nonstop, and most of them are like big titles, big budget titles. The fact that they say that it's profitable already, 15% of the revenue. Yeah, but what does that mean in the long term? How do you do to maintain the player base if nothing is I'm not very aware of for example Starfield, I think it's called, it was postponed. It's from a strategic point of view, how do you try to maintain the gamers from switching to a cloud platform, to PlayStation, when they already took your money for Game Pass and then nothing is coming out? So yeah, they maybe they have this big ass gold mine hidden somewhere with all that money, but I don't know. But nothing seems to be coming out, and I know I have friends that have Xbox who are clearly trying to buy that famous PS5 but it's out of stock here in France. So it's all about if you want to keep the player base happy, entertained, as I honestly think I'm quite biased because I'm always 100% PS5. I prefer to have games coming every 5 months, every 6 months, to keep me happy, keep me distracted, than to have promises from Phil Spencer and from the teams in Xbox for God knows when. So yeah, I like to keep things in the short and medium term, in terms of releases.
I think Game Pass lives quite a lot on the fact that they have really built up a reputation of being like the best deal in gaming. And in a lot of ways, it is a really good deal, especially if you mix console with PC gaming, for example.
Yeah.
Considering or console or PC with cloud, because you get so like because not because yes, they're not really adding a lot of exclusives very often, but like for example, Plague Tale is available on all platforms, but if you have Game Pass, you have it day one for free,
Same with
for
Scorn.
included. Scorn the
Yeah.
same way, and even like if it's not things like that, it's like it can be like, oh yeah, this game, like yeah, we have a slow month because it's like, but let's say that they have nothing coming out in November, they could just go to CD Projekt Red and be, hey, could we put on The Witcher 3 for free?
Right.
And they will, if it might already be there as well, but and then like you have a big game, even though a lot of people have already played it, it adds value to the service. So as long as they keep adding value, they can keep like even if it happens to be like a full year between big releases from big exclusive releases, they're kind of fine anyway. And then some people will drop off, of course, during that time, but most, if not all of those, will come back when those big titles release. And they're not counting on having like someone sign up and then stay signed up forever. They're counting on having like some people drop off, some people will join in, and like they can pretty accurately, I think, calculate how many users they're going to have for the next couple of months. And then obviously, as long as they're making a profit, it's just they can do bring out a couple of games each week. Like most of them old, a lot of them indies, and then once every 6 months to a year, drop a really big first party one, and then even if it's not as successful, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think Sony, like because Microsoft was the first out of the gate, I think Sony has been in the public eye playing a bit of catch up, which is never in a position you really like. It's harder for them it's harder for PlayStation Plus to be profitable if they have to be in the public eye playing catch up with Game Pass.
But also from a customer perspective, like from your point of view, you buying a console that it's, let's say, 400 euros, 500 euros when it came out, etc., to have this Game Pass, this huge collection of games that are like really old, makes you feel like I should just buy a secondhand Xbox 360.
I see what you're saying.
It's like
yeah, and I think with cloud being such a like being almost like it's not. I mean, it's a third of the focus in a lot of ways for Game Pass. I think they don't really. Microsoft is beyond the point of it. Like they don't care if you buy an Xbox Series X. You like if you buy a last gen Xbox, or if you buy a Series S, or if you just use it on your PC or phone, they don't really care. They just want the subscription. That's all they really care about at this point. The console sales will, the console sales will go along with it. I mean, the more people who get Game Pass, the more consoles they will eventually sell. But I think Microsoft has moved away from selling hardware being their thing, and are now focusing more on just content subscriptions. That's it.
What are your guys' before Rokk gets back? What are your guys' opinion and thoughts on the fact that the PlayStation 5's hardware is so advanced, so is the Series X's, but yet out of the new Knights game that came out, you're only getting 30 frames per second on console. You guys see that as an issue? And what is the issue that's making it 30 frames? Is it that they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink in the game and have high tech, like high resolution and all that? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I don't know. Martinez, you have or
yeah, that's it. That is an interesting question, and I think it all kind of like I've been reading Cowboys chat too that kind of goes along with this, but I feel like the issue that we continue to run into time and time again is people are pretending you can only have one thing. You can only be PlayStation, you can only be Xbox, you can only be PC, etc. And that's not me. I don't do that. So I don't run into these issues. Like I don't care if my Xbox can only run it at 30 because I can play it on my PC. I don't care if, like it's only on PlayStation because I can play it on PlayStation. I don't care if it's only on Xbox,
I guess
so I think
the people who bought a PlayStation 5 and was looking at the 4K 120 and all that stuff, that turned out to be more of a marketing ploy than actually having the hardware to back it up, I guess.
Just like
right. And so I do see that issue. I do feel bad for the people who say I want PlayStation to be my only gaming source, nothing else. I want Xbox to be my only gaming source. That's it. I have no other options. And then you're expecting your next gen console to be able to do everything. And
Well,
it
I
doesn't.
reject.
Yeah.
I reject. Hey, man, that is a artistic choice. We want 30 frames. I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that.
I don't
the
think
30
so.
frames is for that game in particular is most likely, like, they built the game, they did some optimization, got it to stable 30. They couldn't get it. They couldn't manage to get it to a stable 60 in time for their release window, and it was like, whatever.
Mhm.
We don't have the funds, we don't have the time. Let's just release it as is. It's fine. And I mean, personally, I can honestly, I can't tell the difference between 30 FPS, 60 FPS, or higher. Like I'm unable to do so. And I think it's a lot of like comes down to like I spent many years. Like I played all of Crysis and the standalone expansion Crysis Warhead at a whopping, I think, average of 15 frames per second. The entire game, because I mean that's the best I could do on my PC at the time, and I was fine with that. I grew up on that, so yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I disappeared for it's a small amount of time. I just needed to go and the plants needed some watering outside. I come back, I jump in, I'm listening. It's a lovely conversation, and I suddenly realise poor little ninja guy has been sat there for ages waiting to come in. How are you, buddy? Great to see you.
Almost fell asleep, but yeah, doing well. Thank you.
No, that's Bjorn's hypnotic voice. That's nothing to do with waiting. Yeah.
I mean, Bjorn's. It's carrying me on this webcam because I saw his door open like magically behind him. So it's pretty
Yeah,
scary,
let's see if we can
but-
get the culprit up.
Spooky. Yeah, I know. He's living in a haunted veranda.
Oh, the dog.
That's what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
there-
Yeah, it's a dog killer.
Ninja guy, Chokotoco, Ninja guy.
Yes.
Now, both fellow, Chocos lived in your part of the world, Ninja, because you're in Quebec, aren't you?
I'm in New Brunswick, so fairly close enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
right beside it. Yeah. So yeah, Choco. I was listening to your accent. I just couldn't figure out. Like, I couldn't figure out if you were like Europe or if you were Canada. Like, it's really like mixed up, right? So.
I will let you guess. It's not even North America or Europe. So.
Oh no way.
It's,
Okay.
it's Jupiter.
Yeah. Louisiana.
No, I'm originally from Colombia.
Colombia.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
South
I
American.
see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I live in Paris, in France.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
I have
So
lived in Quebec.
Yeah, he did,
wow.
but he also lived in
Yeah, I
Canada.
lived in Montreal back in 2006.
Okay. Yeah, it just blew my mind. I just couldn't figure out that accent. So, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
little bit of mystery.
Ooh.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's it, man of mystery. That was a great, guys. Listen, I didn't want to intercept because that was a great conversation. Please crack on, keep going.
Well, Anthony, he's saying that what I said isn't true, and I wasn't blanketly stating that the hardware doesn't support that. I'm just saying for most games it won't, especially in the larger games like Knights that they put out. But Bjorn could be very well right that it was only optimized for 30. It's all the time and the budget they had.
Yeah.
And they said, let's get it out.
And I think like in a lot of these games, is probably like we like if you remember how Naughty Dog did games in the PS3 era, like the Uncharted games on there, they looked way better than they had any right to look on that console. Because they were so good at optimizing for it. So like with optimizations, you can get very, very far, but it does require a lot of technical expertise that most of these developers don't have. Like, especially if you're developing something cross-platform, you don't have the time, or like you can't spend like 5,000 development hours on just optimizing for a single platform. You don't have that in the budget. And I mean, and also like a lot of these games, like these hardware, like most games that came out when the new consoles dropped, they were definitely capable of running 4K 60, 4K 120. The further away we get away from that launch day, the further away we're gonna go from that as well. Like devs will be better at optimization, but also it's going to just like the games will be bigger, textures will be bigger. The games won't be able to run it at more than 60 for
Anthony seems to think that Gotham Knights will get a 60 frames per second mode patch. But Anthony, I don't think you would have gotten that patch if you do get it, unless people threw a little fit about it and said, hey, how come it's 30?
Yeah.
If that wouldn't have
happened,
happened, I don't think you'd have gotten that optimization.
I can also see them not doing the
100%.
patch. for the reason that they were through such a fit about like, no, like we can't do a 60 FPS. With people like, yeah, just call it a lazy, and they were no, that like this is the way it can, the only way we could make it. If they then come up with a 60 FPS patch in a couple of months, we will be like, yeah, see, we were right, and they will have to crawl back to the cross.
I gotta jump in and say, I keep hearing Anthony say it's all the developer, but that's not true, because there's a lot more into it than that. When I hear about it with developers, it also has to do with the publishers. It also has to do with the platform itself, because developers are just there doing whatever they can with what they're being asked for. So if the publisher is asking them, guys, you got to make it look super good. I don't care the FPS, just make it look as highest technology you can. This is what this game is about, right? So it's something to consider. Maybe the platform got in also. The reason why I say that is because a good example is with Outbreak, the demo that we had on Stadia. It was only running at 30 FPS, and the developer could have put it at 60 with a little bit lower graphics, but Stadia told them, you know what, you just keep it at 30. We want to showcase Stadia with the best graphics possible, so keep it at 30, and this is what we want. So just keep in mind that it's not just the developer's fault. It's all about all the decision makers in all of this.
Wow.
Hi, Rokk.
he was being very dominant. I was enjoying it.
I like it.
Yeah, I got a lot more comfortable since the first time I've been on your show, Rokk.
Yeah, I know. It's made my trousers go all stiff. Right then, we also have in the wide, wonderful world of gaming news. This is particularly of interest to Bjorn. I think Bjorn buys all these games. I don't think anybody else buys them. I think it's only him.
Tetris.
Tetris, exactly. You're on the money. You're there already. No, it's Age of Empires. Age of Empires.
Oh, come on.
I grew up on Age of Empires 2.
I grew up on that, huh?
Yeah, 25th anniversary, guys. 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
And they're coming to console. I think it's for the first time ever, isn't it?
They come to console for the first time ever. And with and as you can see, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is already out on PC. It's dropping on Xbox in January 31st.
Yeah.
So just a couple of months away. And the Definitive Edition for Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 4 will be coming to xCloud as well. And that's where I get really interested. First of all, I want to see how do they solve the controller input for an RTS game. That's not insignificant work to get right. I would say almost impossible. But they also state in one of the other articles I put out at the same time that they are keeping support for mouse and keyboard. So if you plug into mouse and keyboard into your Xbox, you will be able to play with that in Age of Empires, which is great news. But that also begs the question: are we getting really, really close now to seeing will this be the test bed for mouse and keyboard on xCloud?
Yeah.
And if so, I'm very happy because I've been waiting for that for years. So yeah, look, great news. It could be that cloud won't have support for mouse and keyboard, and sure. Might even be special touch support, which I like. Age of Empires 2 with special UI for touch with direct touch input. Yes, please.
Stay tuned, because now we'll be seeing Bjorn trying all the games with mouse and keyboard, right, on Xbox.
I should totally do that. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't have time for that. One was enough.
Yeah, but Xbox are already onto you, mate. You can't let them down now.
I have to now, don't I?
You've got no choice.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I'd never played Age of Empires, but apparently most of you guys have. So
It's a beloved game.
It's such a fun game, and
for me,
you guys were talking about that number 2. Oh man, there was such good times when that first came out. You got, I don't know if you guys did this or remember, but you could do all those mods. You can have a convertible. Yeah, it was
Big
the
Daddy.
Seeker or whatever.
Big Daddy.
Yeah,
oh man, it was
get
such
a
good time.
car with a machine gun. Amazing. And also, I think I had
nothing more fun than building an empire and then destroying it.
I honestly the first couple of 100 hours I played it as usual, but the last couple of 100 hours I played it as a city builder. I just built nice looking cities and then defended them. And I mean we're also getting Age of Mythology, if you remember that one, which is pretty much the same gameplay, but this time with Greek gods or all gods, I think. I didn't like it as much, but it was still good.
Yeah.
But I remember when we first, like, I think I got the first expansion to Age of Empires 2, was incidentally the same like week, I think, that my dad had gotten a surround system for the TV that didn't work with the TV, so we plugged it into his computer instead. Nice. So I was sitting in the living room playing Age of Empires 2 with surround sound, and that was really fun because we like a friend of mine and I used to do the thing that one of us was playing the game and the other one was like just like we were like eight I think. The other one was just playing along with the sound. Like if you heard arrows shooting, they would like get hit by arrows, and like you kept doing things play like that for hours. This is my childhood in a game, and it's finally coming to cloud.
I think you're hitting on something really important about the test, right? The test of mouse and keyboard. Because think about it, Activision Blizzard, like when that hits, you're gonna have Warcraft too. You know, like that, like with mouse and keyboard would be amazing. So if they could, like, even if this is like a mini test to see how how that could work, oh man, that'd be amazing.
And they've been talking about adding mouse and keyboard support to xCloud for like 2 years now. They said we're working on it. We're working on it for 2 full years. It has to be coming anytime, very soon.
Okay.
So hopefully, which means that you could play Age of Empires with the new Age of Empires on any screen if I would.
So just curveballing it. So because I never played Ages, I can't keep up with your conversation, fellas. But I'm loving the fact that you're all having a man hug. But just curveballing it slightly. Do you think this whole thing of bringing back these games from your childhoods is a tactic for Xbox to pull you away from other platforms? So, the first time it's been on a console, for example. So someone has thought to themselves, what games were never on Xbox or PlayStation or even a modern Nintendo console that we can bring to Xbox that's going to bring these guys in their 40s and their late 30s who pine for those days of playing those games and then get them buying a Game Pass. Do you see? I think it's potentially a strategy in and of itself.
Yeah, I think to some degree you're right. I think it's also about these games they've done a number 4 for the first, the number 3 came out 15, 20 no more 20 years ago, I think. Wow, almost at this point. Been a while, and I mean, then number 4 came out I think it was 2 years ago. So a big leap in between those games. And then also they did the remasters of 1 and 2, and those were all on Game Pass, but only Game Pass PC. So I think this is, I think maybe this is less about that and more about bringing the first party games to all platforms. Like if all the first party games should be on all platforms, like Halo. Should not be Xbox exclusive. It should be on Microsoft exclusive to Windows and Xbox. I think it's more about that. Like we have to they have they have an exclusive title that's not on Xbox. Like that doesn't make any sense, especially if they're moving into a cross buy. Like buy the game once and you have it on all our platforms, which I think they're also aiming for. I think it more plays into that.
But I think the nostalgia is huge. I mean, it's huge. It's huge for Microsoft, it's huge for Sony, for Nintendo. They all do these, bringing back the games, the remasters, over the remakes, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I'd love a remake, in the same time period of whatever game it was, but something fresh and new, maybe a twist on the story. But there's so many of these remasters because people want to play the exact same game again,
Speaking of remasters, right before I jet, have you guys heard that they're remastering or remaking The Witcher, the first Witcher?
We have it in our news list, William. And if you I think it may even be in the next one. You'd almost.
My timing is impeccable.
We will definitely get there, mate. Listen, I know you got to shoot off. Thank you so much for coming in and giving us your amazing wisdom and knowledge as always. Thank you so much, dude.
No problem, guys. Had a great time, and I'll be listening in the back. Thanks, guys.
Love you, man. Take care, buddy. See you soon, dude. So this next item, this is more. I think this was one of yours, wasn't it, Bjorn? That
Yeah, I spotted this on my Twitter feed somewhere, and I was like, that's interesting. So yeah, especially I think the first tweet is out of these two is interesting. The second one was really interesting. So he begins by saying that essentially Tom Warren has spoken with Phil Spencer. So he says later down the line when someone asks for sources, it's me. Like I talk
nice
sources myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it talks about the Activision Blizzard. Like the goal has always been for them to treat Call of Duty like Minecraft. It should be on all platforms and be supported on all platforms. But as he ends the quote with is, this opportunity is really about mobile for us. When you think about 3 billion people playing video games, there's only about 200 million households on console. And so that's where, like, sure, and obviously cloud, Call of Duty mobile is a big thing, but I think Call of Duty through cloud is probably what he's really talking about here. Like for bringing Call of Duty, the full Call of Duty game and full Activision Blizzard games to all the mobile gamers through cloud. I think that has to be what he means here. Which is interesting, and
it is interesting,
exciting.
Isn't it? I mean, he's right, of course. India, China, Africa, those economies are based on mobile gaming because they don't have the infrastructure or the hardware. To be fair, you can get an Android phone for maybe $100, and you can still play games on it. Versus a $2,000 gaming rig, which your average person in Mumbai has got no chance of ever owning. So it's essentially that is the market that these guys are missing out on, isn't it?
We've recently heard also that Xbox is working on building an app for a marketplace, I think, on mobile. I don't know if you guys heard about that. So it feels like this is connecting, right? Like maybe maybe we'll see some stuff happening on mobile sometime soon.
And I guess the question, I think this is the question that you're really posing here, Bjorn, is at what point does mobile become synonymous with cloud? Because it's still I mean, I know you can play Call of Duty. There are mobile versions of a lot of these games, but they aren't the game that we play on our PCs. I mean, they are designed for a mobile experience versus cloud, which is the desktop experience, and you've got no issues about whether you've got a very low end mobile device versus an expensive gaming mobile phone. So it's when do we stop thinking of it in terms of Angry Birds and Candy Crush, and instead think of it in terms of running a GeForce NOW 1080 or a 3080 on a mobile device and any game that you want at that quality. I mean, imagine, Choco, being able to play the very latest Final Fantasy on your Android tablet, for example, with full 4K 60 frames per second plus graphics.
That sounds interesting.
Right? And if you're,
I think I'm assuming that the mobile connection in Paris is pretty decent. So that's like technically you could already do that in a lot of cases. So it's more about like having it more broadly adopted, and I think it will be a gradual thing. But I think at least at the end of the decade.
Okay.
The internet in France is unbelievable, isn't it, Choc? I mean, you've got
cannot complain now.
You had gig in both directions years before it was a thing in the UK.
Yeah, we had this conversation like years ago, huh?
Yeah, I had envy. I'm going to be honest. I had envy with my 50 or whatever it was at the time, and you were there storming away with your 1,000.
Yeah, I think generally it goes. Sweden develops it, then it deploys it all over Europe, and then we go to the UK, and then the US might catch on. Anne
says, if you've got a good phone, Call of Duty Mobile is pretty good. But that's the point. It is a mobile version.
Yeah, and we're all seeing now Ubisoft is pushing into mobile as well. Like they're building Rainbow Six Mobile coming out quite soon. They're building and like Assassin's Creed game, 2 Assassin's Creed games for mobile, one through Netflix and one for mostly I think aimed at China. So like they're really pushing into that as well. It wouldn't surprise me if we see some sort of Far Cry spin-off for mobile down the line as well. And I think in the next couple of years, I think we'll see more AAA on mobile. however that pans out, I guess we'll see, because haven't really had that before.
No.
And then like I think gradually that's when like more people will start playing on their phone, and then as soon as more people start playing on their phone, connectivity increases all over the world, and then cloud is just there ready to take over. So I think it will be a gradual thing in a couple of years.
I do wonder though, Bjorn, whether to a degree America is both the conduit of these kinds of services and also pulling them back from growth.
Yeah, definitely.
In the sense of how, and obviously Martinez, and I think this to a degree is the same in Canada. Ninja Guy, you can tell me if it's not, but you have quite restrictive caps on data, even at home. Not everybody, and not all over, but certainly it's still there. Whereas in most of the world now, you don't get those kinds of caps. You certainly don't get it at home on domestic broadband in most of the world, but still to a degree in certain parts of the States, and depending on what you pay, you still get those caps on data. And I just wonder, because it is this is where a lot of this stuff really kicks off in the States, obviously. But equally, if they're looking at the local market to get a feel, like Amazon Luna, for example, to see how it's likely to fare, it's not necessarily indicative of what experience they'd have elsewhere in the world. And typically this is the same in places like Africa and India and so on. They have different, they have a whole different models in terms of how you pay for that data and on what devices. And yet they actually are the vast, we just hit 3 billion versus the 200 households with consoles. That's where the opportunity is, but it isn't necessarily reflected in the market where a lot of this technology is proven and grown, if that makes sense. Which is
I totally agree with that, because I personally don't have data caps, but there is a lot of people that do, and it does surprise me because I've just, I guess, been lucky every place that I've been that I haven't had to worry about that. But I've heard lots of people say like, oh man, like I can only play X amount of hours during the month. And I mean, that kind of just blows my mind that, their internet is restricting their amount of playtime. And so like you were saying, I totally agree, in markets where that is not an issue and they mainly play, for instance, like mobile, or they would love like a cloud service where they could play, anywhere that they want. That would definitely be way better than in a lot of the different places here in the United States where they're limited by the amount of gigs that they can afford.
Yeah, I mean, I have my one of my favorite pastimes to do when I'm in central Stockholm is just go do a quick speed test and then upload the image to Twitter, and then every time, because I mean, in central Stockholm, I usually have around gigabit speeds on 5G on my phone, and I have no data cap at all on my phone. So like I could play tomorrow content on my phone, or use it as a hotspot wherever I am. And I mean, whenever I do that, I always see Americans being like, "Oh, I have 5G, but I get like 45 megabits per second down." I'm like, I have I've never seen below 200 on 5G here in Stockholm. So like, it's a big difference depending on where you are.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Choco, are you much into mobile gaming at all? Do you ever flick open your phone and have a crack at something like Call of Duty or whatever?
I used to. I tried and it worked perfectly fine, but it was not more on the quality of the connection, but just the way it destroys the battery of the phone.
Yes. But that's the beauty of cloud. Cloud
for me, the phone is not the, but it's the fact that suddenly it starts killing your battery like so fast.
Yeah, but like running something like Genshin Impact or Call of Duty on your phone locally uses a lot more battery than streaming it from the cloud. So like cloud is and I mean, as Cowboy is saying in chat, like phones are getting stronger and stronger. Yes, they are. But even when they're not getting more energy efficient when running those high quality games, and that's like, I mean, to run those things, to run like Genshin Impact on your phone at high graphics, it's always going to use a lot more energy than streaming it, and also you're going to use a lot more storage. And I would rather spend my storage on like pictures of my kids than I would have would spend it on games like massive games. I think Genshin Impact takes like 15 gigs at this point, and And I agree with Winsor. MOBAs on phones take a lot of my time as well. I think I played three different MOBAs currently on mobile.
Is it
one of them being Pokemon?
Is it the same? Is it the same? Is it the same in Canada? You know, the whole data cap thing.
I think it depends the location that you're in. Right now, on my end, we don't. We used to have it with certain providers, but yeah, so it's all mixed up. Sometimes they decide to do it, sometimes they don't. So yeah, I can't really speak for the whole country.
No, why not?
Yeah, come on.
Sure, yeah.
You're Mr. Canada for us.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly. Yeah.
We'll get 100 gigabits per second. Upload, download. Yeah, there you go.
In John's absence, you're allowed to be Mr. Canada. That's
There
all.
you go.
That's all good. Yeah, while he's not here. No, it's one of those things, isn't it? Where in so many ways, cloud is the answer. You know, whatever the question is, cloud seems to be the answer. And gradually, I mean, we knew that it would always take a little while. But Choco's obviously never tried cloud, and that's absolutely fine. And
Millions and millions.
Absolutely, you're not alone. You're not alone. But
I think the majority of gamers haven't played with cloud at all.
No, of course. But my point is that by being in these conversations and thinking, yeah, actually, I could imagine a scenario where I'm at the airport, for example. You know, I've got 4 hours before my flight. These are classics, and I don't want to. I'm not going to take my PS5 in the backpack. But I could fire up my 7-inch tablet, and I can actually do some stuff that would burn some time.
But then I mean, as you mentioned, I've never done cloud gaming before, but it would be interesting to see what the marketing strategies behind this, like Luna, Stadia, well, RIP. Yeah. But how do you know that you can grab a standard family laptop like the one I'm using right now and be able to play with high quality like a next gen console?
Yeah.
There is no marketing outside.
That's a really good point. No, it's a really good point. And Luna, you probably didn't even know, Choc, that Amazon Luna, which is obviously part of the Amazon empire, only exists in America. We can't even play. No, exactly. Which is partly, to be fair, why you may not have heard of it. And we're cloud geeks, so we know this stuff. But no, you're right though. Stadia famously never seemed to get its marketing together, and in many ways it had the best of so many different things, and the technology that they deployed, the user interface, the curation of games. In so many ways it was a really superior service, but they failed on their marketing big time.
I mean a couple of millions, spend a couple of millions on those like in motion, like billboard screens, like all over bus stops and everything, through all over Paris, for example, and you would get millions of people to try it out within a week.
You couldn't keep him down, guys. He couldn't stay out. He had to he's like the Godfather. Just when you thought I was out, they had to pull me back in.
Listen, this conversation was so good. I'm like, okay, I'm going home, but I at least want to tune in and just throw a little bit of input here and there. But continue, guys. I thank you for bringing me in.
No worries.
I just wanted to add, like here in Paris, like on the side of the Opera House in Paris, there's this massive Modern Warfare like banner, like the size of the Opera House.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen something like that. Man, it says PS5, and it's mostly like PlayStation, like with Sony.
Yeah, because they have the branding, the marketing rights to it.
Yeah. But when have you seen something in the metro, anywhere, in a bus stop, cloud gaming? Use your crappy laptop and play like the guy with the 5,000 rig.
I mean, what they even could do is like, let's say Microsoft buys Activision, then for the next Call of Duty, they do the same sort of massive billboard thing, the size of the Opera House. They could just put a QR code on the edge of it and be like, scan this to play right now for free in your phone. And have it try it out and have it free. Have it like it launches today with a free weekend, and then have that billboard out. People scan it. People start playing for free on their phone right there, like right there on the plaza. That is very doable today.
You guys know what my thing is. What I used to say when cloud gaming first came on the scene or got popular, right, with Stadia. What I said was, I can't see. Let's say something like PlayStation, right? The moment you say, hey, you could play on the cloud, then you're competing with yourself because now I don't need to buy a console. And that's kind of how I feel with Xbox, right? Like a lot of people are like, hey, I just play a Plague's Tale. And what I said to Rokk earlier, oh, I'll play it this weekend. I don't own a console. A friend of mine was like, oh, I got to buy an Xbox. My friend Obi Rose, right? I got to buy an Xbox so I can play this game. I said, why? He was like, what do you mean? I said, dude, you play Stadia, right? He was like, yeah. I was like, you can do the same thing and save yourself money. So I love Microsoft's approach, but at the same time, they are their own competition. So if they're getting out of consoles, then fine. But yeah, the moment you start pushing, you know, hey, get my stuff on this, and you're your own competition.
But if you think about it, Ant, they did that from day one with Game Pass because you could play on PC. So you know, it's cloud is just another platform to play it on in essence, right? And of course, the other thing with Plague Tale is I believe it's available as Game Pass on PC as well as on the Series X.
Wow.
So you don't technically need a console. And of course, you can play it in the cloud as well. So you can see how Microsoft are lining up to do away with the hardware. There's no point in competing anymore. That's been won. That's a battle that Nintendo and Sony have already won. Where they've got to go is with the IP and where the gamers are, and provide them with this constant buffet. You know, this smorgasbord. There's a word for you, Bill. Of is it little? You see what I'm saying, Choco? And this is where I believe they're going. They will and. In fact, the next item I'll bring it up, and this is relevant.
There's also something in the private chat that you can bring up. That's also on this matter.
In the private chat. Okay, sorry. What we got here?
Found an article from last year where Microsoft is essentially saying we've never selling consoles have never been a profit thing. Like we lose money on every console we sell.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely right. So for them, like if they can sell less consoles but still get all the subscriptions and game sales, thank you.
It's just such an obvious strategy. And you know, you ultimately own. They're going to be owning so much IP, which of course, to be fair, Sony have been doing for years. I mean, they're still buying studios like they're going out of fashion now, aren't they? But yeah, now this is where it's all going, and then ultimately it converges on the cloud because you can have an Xbox Game Pass app on your LG TV or your Samsung TV or your Philips or whatever it is that you possess, which are never going to download a game because you're never going to have you don't have the space. You know, none of the TVs don't have that kind of hard drive space. So the only way you play those games is through the cloud. But you know what? I think, do you know, and maybe you feel this way as well. I think when it gets to that point, we're not even going to be referring to it as the cloud. It's just how you play games.
Yeah. It already is to me in a lot of ways. And I think like the fact that they like selling consoles, since that is a loss for them to do, like they do it to bring people into their ecosystem. Microsoft with Game Pass and especially with Game Pass Cloud, they've found a way that like they don't need the ecosystem is the subscription itself. They don't need you to get into the buy an Xbox to get into the ecosystem, because you'll just get a Game Pass and then you'll be in it. Like I did see some articles last week about how Microsoft has repeatedly tried to convince Sony to allow them to put Game Pass onto the PlayStation, and Sony has been like, no, we're not gonna let you do that. So like obviously Microsoft, they just want Game Pass everywhere. Anyone should have access to it no matter what they have, and then that's how they get their money back.
Yeah, Game Pass.
Go ahead, Ann.
They when the Brazil thing came out, you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yep.
We got you. Brazil thing came out.
Okay. Somebody was calling me. But when the Brazil thing came out, Microsoft said, "Listen, we can't compete with Sony." They made it clear we can't compete with them as far as console sales. So for them, what he said is a million times right. You know, an ecosystem is, hey, my friend have that game, so I'm playing with my friends. Hey, if I could play on a PC, play on my phone, if you could play everywhere but stay locked in that ecosystem is brilliant. And if they're losing at the console game, then this is their shot. The only thing I wonder, right, is if you put so much focus in that and you say, okay, we're going to let you play everywhere. If it doesn't work, that's kind of scary. But they're like, you know, like you read, 15% of gain is something, right? Something to be said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, absolutely right.
I have an open question. Do you guys think that the console sales from Xbox is a way of financing the development behind closed curtains of the cloud infrastructure?
No, because they lose money on consoles. They don't make money on the console.
I think it's like the consoles were a way to get people into the ecosystem, and then whenever you buy any game, even if it's Call of Duty, if it's Minecraft, whatever, obviously Minecraft brings more money because they own that. But if you buy anything you buy, they get about 30%, and that's where they make their money back, and that's how they invest into cloud. And also the investments that they do into cloud is also something that they can utilize with Azure, and for like cloud computing for business to business, which is so like it's investments that are, even if cloud doesn't take off and crashes, it's not money down the drain. They can use that horsepower for something else. But as we can see, it's going really well for xCloud. So
20 million users. They just announced Choco for Xbox Cloud gaming. 10 million users last year, so it's doubled in usage in 12 months.
So I'm guessing 40 million next year then. I think it will double every year from now on for a couple of years at least.
Yeah, well, who knows? But certainly, I think as Mr. Urban World and Ant have agreed, I think it's just ultimately going to become where wow, he just ran over that granny.
10 points to the cowboy.
Yes. That was
playing crazy taxi over there.
That was the wheelchair went straight out the back. And she's come back for more. Yeah, no, it's it's going to be ultimately it's going to be synonymous. You know, it's just an option you play, particularly if you're going to be playing it through your entertainment system. You know, if you're going to be playing on a console or a PC, then it's up to you. It's a personal choice. But if you're playing games on a TV, there ain't no space on there for gaming. You could slap a hard drive in the back, but no mere mortal's going to be doing that. So you know, the only way you're playing games there is via the cloud. And those guys aren't going to be calling it cloud gaming. They're just going to say, "Yeah, I play on my TV." Yeah, they don't see it any other way.
If they do it through like a Game Pass app on their TV, they're just gonna call it. Yeah, I play on my Xbox.
Yeah, well, do you want to play Age of Empires with me tonight? Yeah, okay, I'll fire it up on my television. There'll be no thinking along the lines of how do I do this? It's gonna be. I mean, Choco, just out of interest, because I'm fascinated from the perspective of having a gamer. You know, I mean, you and I go back a long time. I've been gaming. I've been gaming before you were born, but let's put that to one side.
But we have you for Atari.
Exactly. But from someone who's kind of new to the whole concept of cloud gaming, you've said it yourself, the ability to play these amazing games on your potato laptop, how much would you pay per month to be able to do that? What would feel like a comfortable price for you? Bearing in mind you'd still have to own the game.
Oh, okay.
Actually, not in all cases, in fairness.
I was just going to say
Okay, I'll retract that statement, Malud.
Give us two prices. One price if you have for the service, and then you have to buy the games, and then one price if you don't have to buy the games. What seems reasonable?
If it's just a service, I'm not willing to pay more than $100 per year. Honestly.
Well, you're in luck.
If I were to do it.
GeForce NOW is below that, so yeah, sure.
But if it's something where they tell me, okay, so you give us this amount of money and you have already everything available at your hand on your TV, you just throw yourself in the couch and start gaming anything you want. Oh no, definitely I would go. I would have to say 200 to 50 euros per month per year.
But what's interesting is you're not paying for PlayStation Plus Premium and yet that kind of gives you that.
Well,
Yeah.
I have the PlayStation Plus, huh? Not the premium, because the premium.
Yeah,
is,
so the premium
premium
comes
is
with
120.
yeah, but it comes
euros.
with over 800 games that you can play in the cloud.
Yeah, bro, but out of 800, there are like 792 that I'm not even.
I agree with you so bad with that. Cowboy is so pro that.
It's very precise.
Yeah.
Mate,
Yeah.
no, you've got the old God of War in there, Miles Morales, Days Gone.
I'm kidding. Like, they will give you 30 good games. 30
No,
good games.
there's loads of great games in there.
Let's
You've got no evidence for your statement.
Let's call it 100. Let's call it 100. But it's not just.
Ant will tell you, because Ant
games.
does have premium, and he plays
it's
all
nice
of the
to
stuff.
have. It's nice to know that you have access to 1 million games and they're all amazing, right? But at the same time,
But
also
you
have
just
to
said
think-
you'd pay $200 to have access
Yeah.
to those games.
Access to all, he said. He said
Yeah.
not
Oh,
to
every
yes.
game in the
What
world
I'm trying
ever.
to say is that
Okay,
you also have
Spotify.
to think, okay, it's good to have that access. It's massive. It's amazing. But how much are you going to be playing? Like in my case, I'm not a student where I can just stay at home.
No, I
playing.
know.
So-
Or an old man like me when nobody wants you anymore.
When you're in your 40s, like you need to okay, so is it really? For example, I haven't done any upgrades on my PlayStation Plus to the extra,
Yeah.
and there's several games there that I want to play, but I have this massive backlog of games, so that I know it's going to take me a long time. Like every month, I'm downloading pretty much everything that PlayStation gives me for free. So why bother paying an upgrade if I'm not even going to touch it for at least the next 6 months, if I'm lucky? You know?
Now that's a really valid point. I don't know if you're aware of. I mean, you obviously know who Ubisoft are, but I don't know if you're aware of the Ubisoft Plus subscription, Chock, where you can essentially play all of their catalog of games and anything new that comes out and all the top stuff. But the problem is that they have to keep feeding you content. Otherwise you go, you know what, I've played everything now and I'm going to cancel it. And this is the thing that Ubisoft have come up against, because they've got no new games coming out till next year. So if
But at the same time, as soon as they release those new games that are coming out next year, you will be back on that service.
Yeah,
You will probably stay,
100%.
and then you will stay on that service until you feel like
This
I'm
is
not really
that's
getting the
true,
money's worth
Bjorn. But any subscription service needs rolling income.
Yeah.
All right, they can't build on it if they think you're going to kick off for 6 months and come back again.
Here is something to think about with the subscription service, and I think it just hit me. I was telling Rokk about this. I said it earlier.
Yeah.
I think what hit me, right, and I think I'm sorry, I forgot the gentleman's name that was speaking, Chaka, right?
Yeah.
I think to his point is where I'm at right now. Yeah, you go say you could offer me so many games, right? But this is what I'm finding. I'm finding with these subscription services, I'm just playing games that I didn't have interest in just because they're on the service.
Yes.
But like, for instance, he's selecting the specific game he has interest in, and he will spend the money, buy it, and play that game. Now he could pay upgrade and get all these other games, but he might scroll through and be like, I don't even have interest. Like, for instance, right? I seen Scorn. I was like, man, Scorn looks cool, right? I had interest in it, but I never looked and said, oh, I want to buy Scorn. But I played it. I put some time in on Game Pass because it was there. But it wasn't a game that I would have bought, you know? Same thing with a Plague's Tale. Like I told Rokk, I'm going to play it this weekend. I would have never, ever paid for this game or even thought to play it because I had no interest. So I think what's happening with these subscriptions is we're excited that they have so much, but it's like, were you really going to play that game if it wasn't on there?
Yeah.
But you have walked in the store and said, I want that game that you're playing. Probably not. So it's kind of like they have to entice us, like you're saying about Ubisoft, with something new or something that we actually said, I would have bought that game. And last thing, that's what happened with me to Stadia Pro. I realized that I was like, wait, a viewer, he watched me do my Stadia Pro thing where I do my first impressions of all the games. And he commented, he said, listen, I watched for 2 hours. You go through all the games and you complain that you didn't like them all. He said, you would have been better off not paying for Pro and playing the free trial and seeing that you didn't like them anyway, because now I'm watching you complain. And I said, wow, he has a point. So I canceled Pro and end up playing this free trial. And I realized I didn't want to play the games. I was only playing them because they was available, and I had the fear of loss. Oh, if I play them, I'm missing out because everybody else is playing them. But everybody's just playing them because they're there. But would they have paid for them? Probably not.
It's also kind of it works the other way around as well. I played a lot of games on their on subscription services that I otherwise wouldn't have played, that I realized like, oh, I would have missed out. I really enjoyed this experience, like, and I would never have touched it otherwise. So it goes both ways.
My only issue with that is, so there's a bunch of games, right, that I did play, like Wavetail, loved it. I said, wow, I would never know this game. But you know what happens when you don't really have interest in a game? Like Wavetail, like I kept saying, I gotta beat it, I gotta beat it. I never beat it. You know why? Because I didn't have the drive-in factor, because I never had interest in it. Now, why I loved it, I said it was my favorite indie game. But guess what? Stadia, I ended up canceling Pro. I never got to play it. I kept saying, I'm going to play it. And I was like, wait, I already canceled Pro and I can't get it back. So guess what? So another thing, Scorn, right? I never had interest in Scorn to play it, but it was on there. So I started playing it and I never went back to it. Yeah. But the games you typically buy, you're more, because you said this game I want. You typically would jump on and play. Now, I know there's some diamonds in the rough, but I find when I didn't initially have interest, I might like the game initially, but then my interest kind of dies down because it ended up being cool and I never heard of it, but I don't have interest to like finish it. That's just my personal perspective.
Yeah, let me throw one more thing into the mix here. So we're talking about subscriptions, right? So we're gaming subscriptions, but there's also like Netflix and Hulu. There's subscriptions like that, right? And you can have the same arguments. You can say, I scroll through Netflix for hours, finally end up watching something I never would have and maybe didn't like it, or vice versa. But my side of the thing, and I don't know if you guys are this one in your family, but I pay for every subscription for my whole family and everybody uses it. So to me, like, if I'm not watching Netflix, if I'm not watching Hulu, if I'm not watching Disney Plus, somebody else probably is in my family. And it's the same with Game Pass. If I'm not playing, if my wife's not playing, my son's not playing, my brother in Hawaii's not playing, my little sister-in-law's not playing, because my account's on everyone's Xbox, and then PlayStation was the same way. So like, to me, I feel like it is worth it to me because I'm giving everyone the gift of watching things, everyone the gift of playing. Now, if I was single and I was all by myself, I probably wouldn't have every single subscription. But I do, because I feel like it's super more valuable. It's not just one person paying, a couple $100s for all these subscriptions. It's multiple families, and multiple of my own family and friends are being able to benefit from it. Now, that's not what like Xbox or PlayStation or Netflix is really trying to shoot for, but it is the case in my situation. And so I think that's why for me, like, even if I'm like, let's go back to Stadia Pro. So Stadia Pro, I think now that it's going away and everybody's feeling a lot more liberal about talking about it, the positives and negatives is, the majority of those pro games I wasn't very into, but my son liked a lot of them and my wife liked some of them. So like, me personally, it wasn't like Cowboy saying, I wasn't like, I need that. Oh man, this game, as soon as it comes out, that's mine. I'm going to play all weekend long. I wasn't like that, but I did have people who had access to my account and who did enjoy it. So for me, it's a little bit different, but I totally understand, that thinking that you could end up wasting your time on a bunch of stuff just because you feel like you have to play it because you're paying $15, $20 a month. Yeah.
But then Ninja Guy played, like Pixel Junk Raiders 1,000,000 times. And and the question, and seriously, I mean, it may not have been the game.
Playing it.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it so much. Yeah, the thing is, that's what I like about Stadia, and that's why I'm not really fond on going other cloud platforms, because that's what I like. I like that you could own a game and you didn't need to do that subscription, right? And that's where I'm driving away from you guys in general, just because for me it's all about owning the game and playing it whenever you want. I don't want to borrow games.
GeForce NOW and Boosteroid. I mean, that's the model for you, isn't it?
Well, GeForce NOW, it's still a subscription. Honestly, I'm just playing it because I'm affiliate right now, so so I'm enjoying because
it's been a lovely ride, but it's over.
But if they wouldn't have approached me, I would have just went into consoles because I do like to own.
Right,
You know,
okay.
Sometimes I can be like a year before jumping on a game, and I don't like having in the back of my mind that I could lose my save or things like that. So, so that's how I am.
But that's what's happening, though, isn't it? We're seeing. It's really interesting, I think, to see where the majority of people that we least know in the Stadia community, where they're falling. A lot of them are falling on the console, Xbox particularly, because they've got the best of both worlds. They've got the console where they can buy the game and play it, but they've equally got the cloud aspect and the subscription aspect as well.
And PC.
And then the other half are going to PC and Steam Deck. Interestingly enough, seems to be the purchase.
A lot about the owning games.
And it's fascinating to see. I thought what we would see is people going to Luna or to Nuinoir. That's the one. But not actually doesn't seem to be the case. A few are, particularly where it's kind of at the family options, but it seems to be in the direction of Xbox or PC.
Yeah, there's one more thing that I'd like to throw in for Cowboy. And it was actually I believe it was his most recent video. And if it wasn't, I need to catch up. But the one that you were talking about, GameFly. So companies like that, right? Like I've always been interested in them, and like when the sending you a DVD to your house, things like that. I've always been really bad of like buying DVDs, and then I'm the same way with games. Like I like the physical edition, even if it's a remaster. I like buying it, but like watching that video, and the more like he talks about it a lot, and I'm like, man, that would save me so much money, because I spend so much money on games, especially Nintendo Switch, because like anytime my son wants something, I'm just gonna buy it, and then if he doesn't like it, it's the same as the subscription. You might play it, and then he's like, oh, I didn't really like it, or I'm not very interested in it. Man, if I had GameFly, I could get that. He could play it for a couple of days and be like, didn't like it. All right, let's get something new. And so I'm actually really interested in trying that out, and I think that's actually going to save me a chunk of money.
Oh yeah, I wish many people had the option. I know a lot of people in other countries don't. I know I've talked to Rokk a lot, and he has a rental service. But yeah, guys, it's nothing like being able to say. And here's the difference with GameFly versus the Game Pass, right? And I'm not knocking subscription services, but you tend to play games that you didn't have interest in playing. Like we could all agree on that, right? Now the thing with GameFly is you're renting a specific game, right? It's like going to Blockbuster back in the day. You walked in with a movie in mind. I'm renting this, and then if you may picked out something you saw to the cover, cool, right? But you could easily take it back the next day. So with GameFly, it's a rental service, and it allows me to say, I want this game, a specific game that I have interest in. Now, it also might be, you know what? I like Scorn. The trailer looks good. I don't think I would buy it, and I'm not sure if I would even play it all the way through. So let me rent it. And when I rent it, I might play for 12 hours, say, you know what? Wasn't my cup of tea. But rather than it's just a plethora of games, and I'm like, well, I'm just, because I feel like it's the fair loss. You pay your money every month, unless they Game Pass, and so you're compelled to have to play what's on there, because if you don't, you're kind of wasting your money. So, but yeah, that's why I stand and live by GameFly, and I've been using it since 2008. And I love it, but I know everybody doesn't have the ability to use it. So
no, how much does it cost for you in the States, Sam? Do you mind asking?
I was just looking. Was it like $15 or something?
Yeah, it's like $15.
Okay, and that gets you unlimited time with the particular game, or
so you could get one game. So you get one game. You could do 2 games. They even got a thing called Game Lock, which I'm using right now.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
Every 30 days. Yeah, every 30 days you could game lock a game, meaning the actually GameFly, they wrote me today on Twitter. They seen I wrote GameFly, and they commented, and they retweeted my tweet. But they clarified it. So what it is I'm getting Call of Duty from a Game Locker, right? It comes out tomorrow. They email me yesterday and say, hey, your game is on the way. So what they do is you could the day that game is coming out, you'll get it around that time. So there's guaranteed that game is coming out then. And you could do it once every 30 days. So essentially you could game lock a game every month. But yeah, and you can pay a little more too if you want more than one game. And on top of that, they also do movies. DVDs, Blu-rays. They do Nintendo Switch. They do Xbox. They do PlayStation 3, Xbox One. It's a plethora of platforms.
That's
They
cool.
used to do PC when PC was a thing with the disc.
Wait, and this is just in the US?
Yeah, well, there's one in the UK which I use, which is Boomerang Rentals. There may or may not be one in Central Europe or in France, Choco, but it's a similar model. I pay about $12 a month, I guess, and then I can keep. I just literally sent back Tiny Tina's Wonderland because it's not
nice.
You know, I mean, I'd already tried it. You can do, as you know, on PlayStation, you can do a trial for it depends on the game. I think it's a couple of hours. So I tried it for a couple of hours. I thought actually I prefer it to Borderlands. Wouldn't mind playing this a bit more. So I don't know. It's just, with Boomerang, you kind of just tick all the boxes on the games that you want, and it's only for me. It's Xbox and PlayStation. And then they just choose from the next one in your list that's available. So it's a little bit potluck. You don't have the lock-in like you have. You can pay a bit more, and then they increase the chances of you getting it ahead of other folk. But I've paid that, and I didn't really find that it got the game to me any quicker. But that's I mean, for me, I'm going to do that as far as PlayStation is concerned.
Yeah.
Because it's just pointless. I mean, I can pay £10 a month and choose the game or more than one game because I can send it back after. And if I don't like it, and I've done that, if I didn't think much of it, I can put it back in the post for free, and it comes a new one. It's
Rokk. I had a stream. Now, mind you, I've been doing this since 2008. I had a stream where I showed all my games. It took me a half an hour to go through all the games. That's how many games I've been doing. Now, here's the funny thing. When I bring it up, gamers laugh at me. Oh, that dumb GameFly. Like, it's not popular or by the major, bizarre, hardcore gamer. The hardcore gamer, they look at me, they all laugh. Oh, he's doing GameFly. You're the only person. I'm like, you know how much money I saved? You know how many games I got to play that you guys played and complained and say you didn't like it, but you paid full price?
Before Stadia, that's all I did. I never bought games. I rented them, and that was it, full stop. For years and years and years. And even now, I rarely buy games. I just get them through Game Pass or PlayStation or, Epic free games or what have you. I mean, it's very rare. Guys, what a fantastic conversation. I'm gonna bring it to a close because all these guys are going, I'm tired. I want to go now. I want to go get some breakfast or whatever. But absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you as well, of course, to William, who had to leave a little bit earlier. Thank you. It was absolutely excellent. That was a great conversation. See what I'm saying to you guys? You let the thing go organic. If you structure these things, Ant does this. He never turns up with a bunch of show notes. He lets the conversation go where the conversation goes, and I always think you get the better shows that way. Guys, we're going to do the quick thing, the professional thing. We're going to race around from Bjorn and then go all the way around, so you guys can tell me where people can find you and what you are up to.
Yes, I'm obviously on YouTube as Dave Plays Games. I'm doing recording an interview for this very show right after this with the developer Enigma Dragon. That I'm going to be talking to both the developers on that game in about 30 minutes to an hour or something. And other than that, I'm working on a GeForce NOW review video, and also obviously my massive Xbox Cloud Gaming Touch interface review thingy that's been taking months to do.
Xbox are going to have you on a plinth in the reception hall.
I mean, I already know for a fact that they're the team over at xCloud are looking at this list as a to see how well they did.
They're literally going to call it Bjorn's list. It's going to be,
and then they're
cool.
Yeah, and I'm also chasing some developers for another interview about cloud gaming specifically. I've been reaching out to Haven. I've been reaching out to xCloud as well, and to Ubisoft
interview.
Stockholm as well. I tried to reach out to Ubisoft Stockholm, but they didn't have an emailer, so I'm just going to go by their office.
Don't give any clues to Ninja. He's already starting. He's got a show coming up. He can tell us about it in a minute, but
he won't be able to get Ubisoft Stockholm.
Well, you never know.
However,
he knows people.
I can just waltz into their office. So I'm actually
with a 12-bore shotgun, that works.
Next time I'm in town, I'm actually gonna buy some Swedish fika and go by their office and say like, hey,
Swedish what? Fika?
Yeah, fika.
Pizza.
Like
Fika?
cinnamon buns or and some coffee, that like that. Maybe I'll bake it myself, and then
Very
you know,
nice.
just drop by like, hi, I got some stuff for you.
Creepy guy in reception with buns. Don't worry, Phil Spencer's phoned through. He's okay.
Can I please get an email letter so I can tell you guys about what I like? If I want an interview. So yeah. Hopefully doing a lot more interviews over the down the line.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much, man. I'm really looking forward to the interview. Martinez, man of the Star Wars. What have you noticed? I've got little R2D2 over here. Did you notice that little fella there?
Specifically for this, he never has it out otherwise.
What have you got coming up, buddy?
Speaking of Star Wars, obviously my mostly Star Wars podcast. Recently it's been on Saturdays. That kind of moves around because my co-hosts work at the airport, so it kind of bounces around a little bit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, anyways, this week coming up on Saturday, we're going to be talking about the newest episode of Andor, and also Tales of the Jedi just came out. They threw that whole season out there.
Tiny bite-sized shows, aren't they?
Yeah.
Spotify, or where can we find you?
So we record live on YouTube, and then it's everywhere after that. So anywhere you like to listen to it, like audio version only, that usually like is out by Monday.
It's a great show, Choco. You'd love it. Mostly Star Wars. Yeah. You'll find it. In fact, I've got links. I've got Twitter links right now in the description for everybody, but I'll be adding in YouTube channels and Twitch channels and stuff, so you can find my friends there.
So that's me, and then obviously my son. Always got to give a shout out to Hezekiah. Hezekiah's Toys and Games. He has just launched a video recently. So definitely check him out. We have another video that's going to be pretty cool. A little hint, talked about it a ton today, but Xbox. There is just a crazy, amazing thing. Once again, I can't thank the community enough. Cowboy too. Yeah. Cowboy was shouting out Hezekiah and Kayari on his show. Man. I mean, everybody's just showed so much love to my kids, and so can't thank you guys enough. But definitely Hezekiah's next video, you gotta watch it because it's just something that blew me and my wife's mind happened to Hezekiah, and so it was awesome.
Oh, that's amazing! Nice. Well done, my friend. Chokotoco.
Yes.
How was it? Your very first ever panel show guest appearance,
bro? You tell me. I think I survived.
I think you did okay.
I was mute all the time, so
you did okay. You did great,
man.
We'll have you back.
Oh, definitely. That would be a
and these two guys, they're amazing, so they're allowed to come back, and that's how it works here.
No, definitely, it would be my pleasure to be back. I want to thank you, Ads, of course, for inviting me. That was meeting all of you guys. Amazing conversations, really interesting discussions. Now you did all the marketing of cloud gaming that I've never received from the other platforms.
Well, this is it.
I'm officially interested.
Well, I'll get you a code, and you can have a little play. Because there's free to play stuff as well. You don't have to own the games on Steam.
Well, I really want to see if this family standard laptop can.
I'm interested to hear your views. And with that, what we'll do is I'll give you a code, and then you must come back on the show and tell us what you thought. And honestly, be honest. If you thought actually it was rubbish, waste of time. I'd be really keen
I'll be the guinea pig.
Litmus test, as they say.
But I was really happy.
We should try and get you codes for all of the services, so you can try all of them.
Well, no, I can't afford that. I just gave them.
Me neither, but hypothetically.
No, but it was my pleasure to be here. If anyone interested, you can either find me either in Twitch at Chokotoco. That's my
Say it again because your mic went down, my friend.
No, sorry. I was saying that if anyone is interested, you can find my Twitch channel. I'm a very small streamer. I just started 7 months ago. Thanks to my wife who pushed me to. Well, you should stream because you love too much gaming. Okay, so
that's awesome.
She's not my sponsorship, but she gave me green light to go on this experiment. So you can find me at Chokotoco. That's my official alias and channel name, let's say, and on Twitter at Chokotoco Gamer because Chokotoco was taken. But it was my pleasure to be here, guys, and thank you.
We thoroughly enjoyed having you. Thank you so much, my friend. I'm going to bring young Anthony on because he's desperate. He loves the show. Here he is.
There we go. Sorry
And
about
He's
that.
inside.
I
What are you
I pulled
streaming?
up in front of my house and my internet, my Wi-Fi connected.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that happens. Yeah, when you're on the phone, I hate that. So, you streaming later today, my friend, or you got?
Yeah, Rokk, this is gonna, guys. I'm gonna have a really good show. I'm doing these things where I'm trying to get a little bit away from gaming, so I invite people to come on as a guest, and we have 4 topics or questions that's non-gaming, right? You can't have gaming. Now, I don't know your 2, you won't know my 2. There'll be hypothetical questions, could be crazy, could be what would you do if the world was ending, whatever. Now, my guest today, this guy is so sharp. He's a young guy. He go by the name of Red Giraffe, aka Mr. B's son. And he's into studying channels. This is what he does. He like to study YouTube channels, and like he inboxed me and said, "Hey, I would like to help you get your, increase your channel, blah blah blah." He's talking about like tags and whatever. So anyway, we're gonna start the show off. We're gonna do our 4 questions, and after that, we're gonna go to talking about just content creation. What are your,
Nice.
How many views are you getting? What could you do to increase it? And we're gonna go through everything you can imagine, and I'm also going to let people jump in the show if they want to personally bring up their channel, where I use vidIQ. If some of you guys know what that is.
I use
it shows stats.
TubeBuddy, but it's
so
the same.
I'll pull
same
up
kind
their
of thing.
channel, we'll look at your stats, we'll tell you what could you do differently. It's going to be an amazing show.
Nice,
My channel is called Now Your Mama Knows, and I'll be streaming in like 15 minutes, so if you guys are free, you can check it out. Good stuff.
I'll check it out for sure.
Nice.
Sounds like coaching. A lot of coaching.
Coaching. That's
No, coaching.
No, it's coaching. It's a Japanese delicacy.
Hall's favorite, right?
No, it sounds like you're coaching fellow streamers.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm just pulling your leg.
Okay.
Ninja guy. Oh, look at this! I'm a cowboy.
I'm home now, so
No, now he is. Now he's epic. Now he's officially epic. Yeah. What you got coming up, my brother? Oh, I know you've got a new show and all sorts going on.
Yeah, very excited about it. I keep talking about it. I feel like I'm on repeat, but so my channel on YouTube is Ninja Guy Space X. I had to put 2 names on there for some reason, so Ninja Guy and then a space and X. Right now, all I'm doing is just doing like just regular streaming. In the morning, I just play some games for 1 hour just to keep it active, but nothing too much going on the channel. Other than that, every month I have a show with actually Bjorn here. We call it Hear Me Out, where we introduce ourselves some music and we tell our thoughts about it, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty much the highlight of my channel for now. But next month, starting November 11th, I have a new show called iTie, which is an abbreviation for Indie Time Interview Edition, and I'm going to be wearing a tie every time, and it's going to be a show where we interview indie video game developers, and I already have 4 developers booked. So for in the first 4 weeks we have them already. I just can't stop myself from asking people. So yeah, it's going to be very fun.
That's awesome.
It's after Stadia was gone, I told myself what's the thing that I really enjoyed, and it was like the developer interviews with John with Stadium Connect Note, right? So very, very excited about it. Hopefully it picks up, and hopefully it gets enough traction to get developers that I don't have any relationship with, right? Because that's gonna be the hard part. So after maybe like 6 interviews, I'm gonna ask a lot of people to help me out, put a lot of traction to my stuff. Exactly, and see if it picks up. But as you can see, I'm very excited about it.
Love it.
Nice.
No,
So am I. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
That's
Right,
awesome.
because Bjorn needs some of your cast-offs, basically, mate.
Taking on my interviews, you brother.
Guys, what a brilliant show. Really, really enjoyed it. Thanks so much. Just very quickly, so Rokk Around the Clock back tomorrow. Of course, we've got the old giveaway for Team Rock members, all the Resident
miss
Evils.
that.
Yeah, and then almost seconds after it ends, I've got to quickly get over to Renaissance Men podcast. I'm going to be a guest on their show, and they do shows. Bit like
Amazing.
Williams goes on forever.
Nice.
But I'm really looking forward to that, and that's going to be their Halloween special. That could be good. That'd be all right, Cowboy. A Halloween special. It should. I've got HALLO-WIN, so why don't we get Halloween as well? And that's there's a certain community where they love that. My friend RuPaul will be well up for a bit of Halloween. So we'll be doing all that. That's tomorrow as well. Chat, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all your amazing interactions. Sorry, I don't tend to throw them on the screen as much as I do when I'm doing my one-to-one stuff, because these guys are so engaging. But thank you everybody for joining me today, particularly William. Sorry, and Holt, of course. Hope you get well soon, buddy. He had to leave work early and really didn't feel too well at all. So hopefully he'll be back to his normal self next week. I think that's it. I think we will now be playing the end stream. And what's amazing about this end stream, Bjorn?
It's actually custom made just for us. Not only the visuals, but also the music by none other than
Al Davis, whose name is still misspelled on the video, and I promise I will get it changed at some point. Bless him, he's never mentioned it, and then I'm watching it and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, there's no E in his name. What have I done? So anyway, we're gonna cue that now, and we'll be back same time next week with a whole bunch of new guests and fantastic opinions.
See you next week.
Take care.
Bye.